Where is that? Mm-hmm. That's that. You're live. Okay. Hopefully there's no dramas like the last one. Where am I? Couple of minutes. That's it. Dan, I hope your week has been great. Thanks, Dan. Yep, it's been pretty good, I have to say. It's been a good week. Hopefully yours has been too. DMC 7756. Appreciate you. Thanks for all the little salutes and stuff that you put in the comments. I don't need that. Where am I? 6:59. All right. What have I got? I don't think there's too much on here. That's all right. Save everybody some time. Sorry if you can hear me mumbling away. All right. So yeah. Okay. Cool. That is about it. Hopefully short and sweet. We'll see. 7 o'clock. All right. That's it. Where it is time. 0800 here in Finland. Rovast 1. Paid your internet this week, Joe. Yeah. We were having a laugh about that. Bloody we contacted the provider, and they reckon all they needed was the account number. And then they said, oh, yeah, it's all sorted now. Sorry, there's something to do with a switch on their end, apparently, that they didn't or that they must have flicked over. So we had rubbish internet from that last Friday when the live was all the way through the weekend just to last night. So, yesterday afternoon, it got sorted out. Contacting them. What's that? Mine's been miserable, but I kept turning up and putting one foot in front of the other, and I stayed in the fight. So not too bad. Yes, it's been a great week. Anyway, where am I? Kia ora. G'day. Welcome back. Appreciate you, those that take time out of your Fridays to come along here. There's only a handful of questions that have come up. One is just an FYI. I had a good conversation. This isn't a question. I had a good conversation with a good friend, somebody who I consider a good friend, Charlie29, who gave some good insight in terms of the police corruption stuff that was happening. And one of the reactions that I did when I was wanting to hear the current commissioner name the people. So when the media people were asking who are the other people, and I was saying, just bloody name them, bro. And he kept referring to, I think, the report, the IPCA report, and it had their positions and that sort of stuff. And I think he might have mentioned the positions possibly. But anyway, good insight on that. Like, it's not something that I was thinking about, obviously, in the moment during the reaction. But Charlie29 let me know that, yeah, he has to be careful with regards to, and can't just go naming the other key players, for want of a better term, the people who are at the center of this investigation for potential, was it prejudice, if it gets out into the media, and them then being trialed and found guilty, and it being near on impossible for them to receive a fair trial, for want of a better term. So it made sense when he was explaining it to me anyway, so I probably haven't done a very good job. I probably butchered that, but hopefully you get where I'm coming from. So yeah, that was good. But in the moment, like I said in the reaction, I'm not really I'm not thinking that far ahead. I just want to know who the bloody twats are. But anyway, that makes more sense. So hopefully, as the investigation continues, more will come out, and those idiots that were put in positions of trust and senior positions, etc., supposed to be setting an example. Hopefully, they'll be held to account at some point whenever that happens. So that was interesting. He would know, and it does make sense. Cool. Thanks, Dan. That means I haven't butchered it too much with my trying to explain what he shared. So, but it was really helpful and insightful for me. That wasn't why we caught up, but it was something that came up in conversation. So, thanks for that, Charlie 29. Appreciate it. Um, this next one, let's see. I've never been asked this before. Can you speak to the mindset of joining and or wanting to serve in the SAS, i.e., is it arrogant to think you have what it takes to do that job in the first place? So this came through as a comment and a question, a message through IG. I've never been hit with this question before, but found it like very quickly, not dismissive of it, but I had an answer real quick as I read that question. Is it arrogant to think you have what it takes to do that job in the first place? Honestly, no. That's my take. I don't think it's arrogance at all to put your hand up to say, "Here I am. I want to serve in this role," or "That looks cool. I think I could do that." Is it arrogant to want to be a doctor? Is it arrogant to want to be a lawyer? A business owner? Uh, yeah, doing YouTube. I suppose when I read that question, I had all those things sort of flood into my head straight away. So, my personal and honest take, I don't think it's arrogant at all. If anything, I think it's what's the word? I think it's in basic terms, I think it's cool, but that's not the word I'm looking for. I can't think of the word I'm trying to think of anyway. But I can't put it into words properly, is I guess what I'm trying to say. But definitely, I don't think it's arrogant. I think it's great that people, those that have that mindset, that think about or that may be thinking about wanting to join in a unit like that and serve in whatever the capacity that they feel they can serve or contribute. I think that's an awesome thing. And that's why there's applications for a whole for pretty much all jobs, eh? So you go through an application process because you think you can do that job. And yeah, I don't think it's arrogant at all. But thank you for the question. I appreciate it. Like I said, I've never been hit or asked with that question before. Arrogance can be mistaken for power and a powerful mind. Yeah, I like it, Dan. Thank you for that. Um, that's my take. I like that, Dan. That's my 2 cents anyway. I definitely, in response to that, I don't think it's arrogant at all. Where are we? Sorry. And then this one, I've seen some of the training you used to get your children to do. Do they still train? Um, 5 of the 6 still train. The one of them, one of the ones who's at home, technically, she's an adult now. She'll be moving back to Australia. Yes, no, she'll be moving back to Australia, which is good. She's happy about that, but she hasn't trained in a long time. Actually, last time when I had the channel originally, before I took that channel down, she made a starring appearance on one of the videos because of her poor attitude to some of her teachers at school, or the entitled attitude that she displayed to some of the teachers at school. Well, that went down like a lead balloon when mum and dad found out about it. And so, yeah, she got blasted with a whole bunch of burpees. Well, I did them with her. And yeah, it went for a while. And thankfully, the same one that was not got told to close the freezer lid, I will not drop the freezer lid again. That same child. Um, yeah, so she doesn't train. She's made that choice. But yeah, whilst they have been, or whilst they, all the children, whilst they're children, whilst they are children living at home, um, yeah, it was never going to be right or wrong. I wasn't going to let our children just sit around and become couch potatoes, and not do exercise. Like if they're not going to play sport, well, then they're going to train. And if they're going to play sport, well, then they need to train so that they can better contribute to their team. That was my mindset around it anyway. So either way, they had to train whilst they were young and not legally adults. And the hope is that through them seeing their mum and dad train, as consistently as we do, or just, even though it's nothing spectacular, that hopefully it would rub off on them and that they might take that and adopt it in their adult lives, carrying on. So 5 of the 6 do. The other one, the youngest one that's at home, well, she has no choice. she she has to train. If she could get out of it and not train, she would. So yeah, but she doesn't have that option. So in terms of, do the kids still train? Yep, the other ones do. Some are serving in the military. A couple are. Um, One's over in Australia waiting to, hopefully get into the ADF. That's where he wants to go anyway. And that's where he currently is at the moment. And our oldest, she trains off and on in between her studies and work. So she gets to the gym when she can, but she's quite lucky. She's got a bit of a gym set up in her flat with her partner. So him and her, they both, yeah, they both train when they can, and they've got the luxury of having a bit of a gym set up in their house. So yeah, that's cool. I miss those days. Um, Training with the kids. I get to train with the youngest one who has no choice at the moment, even though she might not like it half the time, or maybe all the time. But too bad, so sad. Like, my take on that, I had a good conversation with her. Had been trying to encourage her, and same with her mum as well. Both have been encouraging her, try to set an example, all that sort of stuff, so that they can follow and train. That wasn't working, and I noticed, as the dad, um, I noticed that she wasn't taking on board anything that we were trying to share or encourage her to do. And physically, she was changing. So, in a nutshell, I let her know she was getting too fat, and I wasn't having it. And so, while she's at home, she's got another 3 years at least at home. She's training. So that changed a few months ago this year, for the end of this year. There's been a lot of changes happen with her since, in a positive way. She feels a lot better too, which is good. But that's the stuff that, I suppose, as bad as it may seem, forcing her to train. Now that she's on holiday, she trains an hour in the morning and an hour in the afternoon. So it's good. She'll either train with me or after me, depending on what it is that I'm getting her to do. And some of that is so that I can pay attention to what it is that she's doing and how she's doing the movements and stuff when I'm trying to coach her through the movements and stuff that I want her to be able to do to minimize injury, so that she can feel better, move better, all that sort of thing. So it's definitely been nice to spend that time with her. And from the training perspective, in regards to the question, right or wrong, that's what I've chosen to do. She has some laughs during some of the training sessions. Some sessions are not so, um, there's not so much laughter. There's a few tears sometimes from her side, because it hurts. Some of the stuff and the repetitions and the movements and all the holds hurt. But she knows, and I'm there with her, and she knows that she's capable of pushing through it. So, wipe those tears away and get used to it. And she builds on that and gets a little bit more resilient and a little bit more stronger physically, mentally, emotionally, and she's better able to control it. When she falls over on the court or on the field or whatever sport she's playing, she's not going to be that child that, needs to cry and come off to the side. Just get back up, dust yourself off, and carry on again, or squirt some magic water on the graze or on the bruise and crack on. So, um, yeah, that's where the kids are at with the training. But I love it. I think she's really starting to enjoy it now. Um, will she carry on doing it when she's 18? Who knows? I hope so, though. But I've let her know I'm not going to be the dad who just lets his kids turn into Oompa Loompas in the house and do nothing about it. So while you're here, you need to train with our children. I'm talking about. And when you're 18 and you're an adult and you can make your own decisions, and or you move away from home and you decide you don't want to train, well, that's your decision, that's your choice. I would encourage that you don't do that, that you try to maintain some sort of routine or rhythm or consistency with it. But if you choose not to, just being honest with her and with the kids and letting them know you'll feel the consequences of that decision later on if you choose to do nothing about it. So, or if you choose to not continue. So anyway, hopefully that helps her continue. Sorry, was this? Uh, Barry, Barry Hercules, great to catch you live. Keep being a good guy. Hey, thank you, bro. Appreciate that. Sorry, I just seen his comments now. There's a difference. Yeah, Dan, I agree. If that's in regards to your arrogance, can be mistaken for power and a powerful mind. Yep. My soap 23 chew. Joe, how's your week been? Yeah, good week. Bloody hot up here in Auckland, especially in the workshop where I work, 30 plus degrees. Oh, nice. And sounds like you're working in a sauna where you are. Where am I? Yeah, the weather was pretty kaka here early hours this morning in Wellington, but it's gotten better now. Where are we? Jake Mozzie, I was having a debate with someone at work this week that to be at the tip of the spear, you have to be arrogant and think you're better than anyone else. I disagree. Cool. All good, Jake. Yeah, all good, man. Appreciate your thoughts and your comments. And I hope it was a good, healthy debate with whoever that person was that you were having that conversation with. So, do any of your kids have the desire to join the SAS? Good question. No, I think they might do, and if they choose to do that, then as long as they're doing it for them. So, have had a conversation with them prior to them joining the army, or when we discovered that they wanted to join the army, and that came as a big surprise and a shock. And then one thing led to the next, and me naturally asking the question: Are you wanting to join because your mum and dad are in the army, or because you want to join? The answers were because they want to join, which was cool. And then asking them what they wanted to do, and boys being boys, they want to join infantry. So that's where a couple of them are right now. They're serving in the infantry. Whether or not they have a desire and want to go on and look to serve in the SAS at some stage, yeah, that's their call. Clearly I would back them and support their decision either way, whether they wanted to go and serve or even if they don't. So if they don't, doesn't bother me because, yeah, the unit doesn't care if you have family that served. If you want to serve, you need to go and earn that place just like everybody else. So yeah, if they do, then maybe I'll find out about it down the track as we go. Um, but they are all amazing in their own way, I'm sure. Yeah, yeah. They are painful in their own way too, Dan. Which I'm sure parents know about. My dad served too in infantry. Oh, that's cool, Jake. And he made me run, do push-ups and sit-ups since I can remember. He still trains old school style. That's awesome. And I'm sure he would have helped you with that because you play AFL too, Jake? Or you're getting back into it, I think. Where are we? Vince. Vince, ever since Vince ever since I think I want to join infantry too. Awesome, go for it. I reckon that's yeah. I think it's a cool place to serve. Anyway, I made it as far as cadets. All good, Jake. Yeah, I know. Yep, no doubt you know. Yep, awesome. I think where are we? I don't think there was anything else going through. No, not for this one anyway. So um because I did that long-winded, blinking, pausing, more selection-focused Q&A one last Friday. Apologies about that, but turns out it wasn't our fault. And our internet bill, it's a direct debit, so it's always paid. Bloody cheeky bugger. Yeah, but I don't know. They must have done something wrong their end, but it's been all sorted since yesterday afternoon, which is good. We haven't had any issues since, so hopefully they don't push, or it seems like they haven't pushed the wrong button, or they haven't pushed a button which has messed it up. Um, Upcoming plans for next year. Great question. So, in regards to the channel or anything else related, thank you for that. Yeah, awesome question. Uh, so, first off, got some work to do with. I have the privilege and an opportunity to do some work with some of the police force next week in and around the Rotorua area. So, really looking forward to that. Humbled by the invitation to go there in the first place and have an opportunity to present to some of the police officers there. From what I understand, some of them are from dog teams and AOS, maybe some from STG. I'm not sure, and I think there may be one other person that has a lot of experience and oversight in terms of some of the cultural stuff. And I think that person, I don't know the name. I think that person also does some of the cultural stuff in the rugby circles in Aotearoa, from what I've heard. I don't know who that person is. I've never met any of these people. I had one of the police officers kindly reach out to me, which was humbling in and of itself, and invited me. Could I come and do presentation on some team stuff, leadership stuff, what it what it means to be led effectively. So, sort of those three topics, based on some some of my experiences and stuff that I've been able to do and observe and yeah, and take part in. So I'll be there for that. That's for a few days. Jump in the suit and get attacked by the dogs or by a dog or whatever, however it looks at some stage, and then hopefully have an opportunity, all going well, in line with what they can allow. Hopefully they can though, to hopefully go out with one of the teams or however it works for a few hours on the shift in the evening. So and hopefully I can do some filming of that and use that as some of the content. I'll make sure that I run that by their team first before posting any of that because of maybe something sensitive that I might not be aware of in terms of filming or having not edited out, which I potentially should do. So take care of that. So that's that piece. The Reckoning was one that came up into next year as well. So it doesn't look like January 24th will go ahead. So the next one after that is April, or the next scheduled one is April. Yes, I know I've been slack with regards to promotion of that, etc. I did the website and I did a post, and that's about as much as I've done. I should have been adding them into the links into the videos and all that sort of stuff and other areas. I'll get to that when I get to that, I suppose. But the cutoff for the 24th of January one is 1st of December, which is next week. Excuse me. So there's only one candidate right now. There was two. I think I mentioned last time another update. Circumstances had changed. That person gave like over a month's notice ago now that they couldn't. They were keen and eager to pay their money prior to that. I didn't take either of the two guys' money that have applied because there was only two of them, and there wasn't much point in taking the money. If there was six minimum, I would have grabbed the monies, and then I could have had everything booked and sorted and squared away before now. Um, but giving the cutoff timing for people that might not have been in a position is for next week, Monday, the 1st of December. Unlikely that it's going to happen. So come Monday, um, if it's still only at one, then that's it. Like if other people want to apply, I won't be running the one in January. It'll be for April next year. I'm not going to be chasing my tail and trying to rush around organising booking and hiring things during the December period when people are probably going to be going on leave very soon, not too far away, and things will be shut. And then going into the new year, and then scrambling to try to run one at the end of January when typically people are still on leave as well, or a lot of people are still on leave and businesses might still be closed, maybe. Yeah, I don't need to put myself through that. So I won't be doing that. April will be that one. Next year with the channel and stuff, hopefully get a bit more in terms of collaboration stuff going. Um, and yeah, and see where that lands with search and rescue stuff, hopefully. And instead, I've heard back from them that seems pretty positive, but that may be something in the new year. I've said there's been no rush and timeline from my side anyway. Hopefully, with a few hunter gatherers, and stuff out and around the traps, it'd be cool to do some stuff with them. And yeah, and then probably just some personal endurance type stuff. The Kokoda trek is next year as well. That's about 10 days where I'll be away filming of that, and then editing that and then uploading and sharing that. That's with that Pillars for Pilgrims stuff. So that'll take me up to around about end of April, beginning of May next year. And then we'll see how it goes. So that's probably about as far out as I'm aware of anyway right now. Yeah, hopefully that helps give a bit of an insight for my soap. Your thing with Cam was awesome, and I really enjoyed it. Great. Oh, thanks for that, Dan. Yeah, sorry, I should have mentioned that. So Cam Holmes, cool guy. Didn't know him from a bar of soap. He reached out on Instagram. Um, see that he's done a few podcasts in that uh, training, physical space, and a few other things, endurance stuff, lifting stuff. He was competing. I'm not sure if he still is. I don't think he is at the moment, or maybe he's preparing to get back into competitive, like bodybuilding or physique stuff. Met his partner as well. They're both lovely people. It was awesome to spend some time with them. And he was kind enough, gracious enough to interview me. Time flew by for me anyway. That's probably because I was rambling on, just like I am now. Um, and yeah, it was just really cool to hang out with Cam, and he's got very good posture when he sits. I don't, but he sits up, and I noticed that in some of his other videos. So if you don't know Cameron Holmes, Layers with Cam, I invite you to go and check him out. Not necessarily go watch my interview that he did with me, but you know, there might be something in there that you might like in terms of what he does. And if he does, or if it does resonate with you, then yeah, give him a like and a subscribe and follow him and support him and his channel, and helping him grow that and what he'd like to do. I know it's something that he enjoys. I think it's something that he's good at, just in terms of what I've seen and what I experienced. He's really patient. He's really thoughtful with regards to his questions, and he just, yeah, just seems like a really nice person. Same with his partner as well. So both really lovely people, and yeah, I enjoyed spending some time with him. He wants to do another video, a collab, maybe just some training. That's a thought that he's wanted to do. I was like, man, that's a great idea. I said, hey, if you want to, said, yeah, we can chuck on a pack and go for a pack walk. You can just do a little one up Colonial Knob, or we can do a longer one, go over the escarpment. Can either just do one way or go there and back. Up to him. But yeah, he's keen to do that. I think obviously this time of year is going to be busy with family, his work, and shutting down, and he's got other interviews, and he's got editing and all that sort of stuff to do. I know what that's like and what that entails. So um, I'm flexible. I've got time and can make time. For him, he's got a whole bunch of other things that he needs to do, especially with a full-time job and that sort of stuff as well. So yeah, we'll see what happens there, and go for a little stomp up in the hills, either in his area or here in my area. Whatever happens. So yeah, where are we? Kana Talakai. Kia ora, Joe. Kia ora. Kia ora, MC Kiwi MCP 888. Still going to hit you up for that walk and talk late Jan. Sounds good. Sounds good, man. Yep, late Jan. Yeah, well, the reckoning won't be going ahead now, eh? That was or latest Jan, 24th of Jan. So it doesn't look like that'll be going ahead, which is fine. Yeah, and I think that's about it. Message retracted. What message is that? Jake's message. I don't know. Retracted some message. That's what it shows up on here. Anywho, whoa, there's 17 people on the live. I think that's a first. Thank yous for joining in. Those that jumped on in here. Actually, probably one of them's my wife. She usually was sitting on. I think the last week one, when I saw that there was one, I think it was her. There was the only one left because of the the rubbish that we had with the internet. So anyway, unless there's any other questions, doesn't seem like it. Well, maybe I'll hang out for a little bit and see if people have got any questions about anything. Hopefully, I've answered the question about any plans for what's coming up in next year. Yeah, that's about all that's coming up. Haven't heard back from Magnus. I did reach out to him. I've reached out to a few other places and that as well. No response, but yeah, that's okay. It is what it is. Oh, there was one other one that question that came up. People, this is an Instagram. Hey Joe, not sure if you've seen this, Bravery and Betrayal. Be good to get your thoughts. So I have watched Bravery and Betrayal. Not sure if I mentioned that in another live. I feel like I had, but anyway, I've watched it, loved it. It was awesome. A lot of good faces, a lot of really good men in there. There's probably only 3, maybe 4 people that I didn't recognize in there, in that video, and those that were being interviewed. But just really sad what they've been put through, but also made me think of Heston Russell as well, and the bloody rubbish that poor fella's been through in his platoon. And this was one of the person that sent this through an IG about Bravery and Betrayal, asked me about my thoughts on the lack of support that soldiers seem to get, or veterans seem to get, from the ADF after they've given the type of service that they've given. And I think about those lads of Bravery and Betrayal, and I think about Heston Russell and the service that they've given, the multiple deployments that they went in on the front line, highly kinetic, a lot of combat experience gained. Heston speaks about, I believe, the engineer that he takes responsibility for as a leader, that he lost. He says that he lost on during his time in command of that platoon, and obviously he carries that weight. But everything that he was going through with the ABC, the doctored video footage, the BS excuses about, oh, we've now taken that down, we're looking into why that happened, we have no idea, blah blah blah, and just the ADF not stepping in at all. So they asked, my thoughts around that. Why am I, still an advocate for people to join the army? Um, Good question. Uh, can be easy to be an advocate for something when something like that hasn't happened to you personally. In this case, hasn't happened to me. So I 100% acknowledge that and get that as well. And that may be a large part why. Maybe my position would be different about wanting to support or encourage people, or even my own children, maybe to join the defence force if I had been treated poorly, and didn't get the support from the ADF. Um, yeah, who knows, eh? But I think the militaries around the world, and just sticking with New Zealand and Australia because that's all I have experience with, they're they're great organizations. Like the people within them, typically, or a lot of the people within them are great people. That's what makes the military the military. That's what makes any organization. I think I've heard the comment, people are the lifeblood of any organization. And so having an opportunity to meet with and serve with people that are sort of like-minded in a lot of ways, some also that are very different in terms of thought and process as well. um, I loved it, and the time was, it was great. It was probably too short from my own doing, but it was awesome. And so I think I have just a massive amount of respect for anybody that goes in and serves. To that part around my thoughts around the transition or lack of support from the Defence Force, and in particular, this person asked about the ADF in relation to Heston Russell and what I've seen there. Yeah, really poor, really disappointing to see and to know that the ADF didn't stand by him. They had access to the same video footage, I would assume, that the ABC had. They would have seen the doctored footage and the rubbish that they tried to create, and trying to create war criminals out of Heston Russell and his platoon, which just is mind blowing to me, that your own people in your own country who you're going away to fight and serve to a degree, maybe not directly, but indirectly, it benefits those people in Australia, and they would want to turn on this person and his platoon, when they can clearly see and hear that there wasn't anything that they were trying to hide, that they weren't murdering people, that they didn't just drop another person so that they could get bodies onto a helicopter. They weren't shooting, actively trying to drop somebody multiple times. They doctored all that stuff, and it's pretty, very, very sad. The ADF in that situation, I think, needs to take a good hard look at themselves, the leadership, um, and do better, do more, especially for people like, not only those from Bravery and Betrayal, but also those like Heston Russell and his platoon. And those people that went over there did what they were told, followed the instructions and the orders, served with integrity and to the best of their ability. And then to not get any support, just, it makes you question the values of the military with regards to integrity, loyalty, mateship, etc., etc. Um, so yeah, that's my take on that. Pretty sad for those guys, but it was awesome doco. Yeah, the Bravery and Betrayal, and that's my take on the transitioning piece and the Defence Force not really doing more to help veterans. I think I've touched on some of that in other reactions. Um, I don't have the answers. I feel like there probably is stuff that the Defence Force could do to try to help with that transition process. Like for a lot of people, even today, for a lot of people that have served or that are getting ready to transition out, a lot of who they are, their identity and their purpose is wrapped up in their career in the military. Like once you leave, you no longer have that military ID card in your top left breast pocket. Well, that's where it used to have to be during my time. um, and you carried that thing on you all the time. So you get in and out of camp, maybe get some discounts at a shop or whatever. I don't recall ever getting a discount at a shop with it though. Um, but a lot of who those individuals are, if they haven't been supported or if they haven't um, taken some steps, so there's some ownership on the individual themselves to be proactive and looking to take some steps to help with their own transition out. If they haven't done that, it can hit them like a ton of bricks. Um, Maybe not straight away, maybe not a day or week or months. It could be years later where they don't know. Maybe the wheels are getting a bit creaky and they start to wobble and they eventually come off at some point. Um, and they may not understand why that is. But so I think there is an opportunity um, for the Defence Force to maybe do a bit more to help soldiers that are transitioning out at all levels, whether they're an officer or ORs. But I'd probably say maybe more ORs in particular or non-commissioned officers. I'm not sure. That's just me assuming, again, probably wrongly assuming that officers will be all right. They've got degrees, they're educated, they're intelligent, they can sort of slot straight into senior executive positions, blah, blah, blah. That's my assumption, right or wrong. But yeah, again, I'm just highlighting, I don't have the answers, but I think there is an opportunity if smarter heads than mine got together and got some key players in the room and had a conversation around and hashed out what are the issues that we're seeing, what are some of the problems and challenges that veterans are facing when they leave and they experience that disconnect. Um, what can we do? How can we help ease that? Whatever. I'm sure they'd come up with some good ideas. Hopefully, I'd like to think they would anyway. So that's my 2 cents on that. Um, Where is this? Oh, bloody hell. Instagram. Are you back on Instagram? Instagram. Oh, yeah, I've been on there for a while. I just don't do that much on it. So, yeah, some people have gone on there and found me. And, yeah. So, yeah, I don't do a lot on there. Vince, okay, I'm 17 and want to join the infantry. Will just push ups, sit ups, pull ups, and running alone be good enough to get in? That's going to help. You are going to have to carry a pack. All basic recruits do that. As far as I'm aware, they do that in Kapuka in Australia as well. Um, so, and infantry, you're definitely going to be carrying a pack. So, all of those things that you just mentioned are great. Like that's bread and butter stuff for a soldier. And then the only thing that's missing from that, Vince, is the pack work. So, getting some pack work. And you're 17, no need to go blank and hammering it and loading up the pack with massive amounts of weight, all that sort of progressive overload stuff. But again, basic training in Australia, as far as I'm aware, and same here in New Zealand, it's designed to take 18-year-olds, like that's typically the age, maybe 17 and a half, but 18-year-olds up to whatever the cutoff age is, and take people that are fresh out of Civvy Street or fresh out of having finished school or maybe only done a little bit of labouring and put them into uniform and get them up to the basic standard required to serve in the Defence Force. Australia, from my understanding, is basically the same. So, and all Defence Forces would have a similar approach, taking completely inexperienced civilians, some of them as young as maybe 17 and a half or 18, might be a little bit different and may even be a little bit younger in the UK, but typically around 18 years old up to early mid 20s who have no experience, and then training them, building them, developing them, helping them um, develop those traits, the consistency, the discipline, and the aptitude and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, that stuff will definitely set you in good stead. James Cooper, Hope Shay Williamson from the Keeping It Wild channel and winner of the recent Alone series would be a great collaborator. Man, I've seen parts of that. Yeah, that guy's pretty awesome, eh? Um, Very awesome, man. To go through what he went through, I can't remember how long he spent in that to win that Alone series, but it was a ridiculous amount of time. And I think the part that I saw, they surprised him with his when he won. I think they surprised him with his wife coming out onto the set or whatever. So that was pretty cool. Um, Robert Q, how many squadrons do NZ and Australia have? NZ at the time, I'm not sure how many NZ have got these days. When I was going through cycle at the time, there was a couple of squadrons. So I don't know how many they have now. They've probably got bigger numbers. I would assume probably still smaller in comparison to Australia or the UK, just because of numbers wise. But yeah, so I'm not sure what New Zealand has at this stage. When I was in Oz, we had three squadrons. Another 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 group that did some other work in that as well. And then if you include the wives, they might have, depending on who you talk to, they might have been referred to as four squadron or five squadron, depending. So it's that's what I recall from the time there. There has been, and I haven't seen it, but I think there was, with the Brereton report and all that sort of stuff in the investigation that was going on, I think two squadron was disbanded. So I don't know if that meant there's only one and three squadron left. And I have no idea what it looks like now. So it's not something that I've asked the lads about, even those that are still more closely connected with the unit than I am. Like, yeah, there's I didn't really know much about it when I went over there. Same in NZ, and doesn't really, I don't feel like personally, it's not something that I'm looking to keep my finger on the pulse on in terms of how many squadrons they've got. Um, I just want them to succeed and do the good work that I know that they do. So, where are we? Much love to your beautiful wife and family. All respect and honor from my family and myself. Thanks for the live, brother. You're welcome. Thank you, Dan. Likewise to you and your family, bro. Thank you very much. AWOL stew. Kokoda will be hot and sticky. Yep, between Jan and March. Hope you enjoy it, mate. Look forward to watching it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too. It's a little bit different from what the chair, one of the guys, ex Aussie Regiment guy, Slotty, who's the chair for Pillars for Pilgrims. He's already done it. I think maybe he's done it more than once, but he was chatting with me about it. I think when they went on it, maybe in one of the earlier trips, they just sort of hammered and got through it as quick as they could, and didn't really take in the experience. This time it's a little bit different. Well, it sounds quite different. It's going to be spread out over 10 days. I think so. It's spread out over 10 days. I think it's a 50-50 split of ex-operators and um, what's the name, civilians, and I think you're sort of partnered up, from what I understand, and yeah, you're going to be going on the journey, a bit of knowledge transfer, connection with those civvies that are coming on the trek. I think they're aware, or getting a briefing of how it's all going, and yeah, and then there's a bit of an exchange, from what I understand, some stuff happening. I won't give away too much because Slotty might slap me around the ears, but there's some stuff that will happen. And yeah, sounds like a pretty cool trip. I better just shut my mouth there in case I in case I go and give away um, too much information. So yeah, the weather's definitely going to be no doubt spicy over there. A discharge battalion was raised as an option in Australia. Unfortunately, it was hit on the head. Very sad. A discharge battalion. Oh, okay. You must be talking about like a bit of a transition piece, eh? That would be awesome. That sounds pretty cool. Unfortunately, it was hit on the head. Yeah, that is sad if that's the case. John Armfield has a YouTube channel as a clearance diver, has bringing up some grisly truths about how has struggled with his chain of command at higher levels. Yeah, no doubt. Unfortunate. There's probably a bit of that with a number of people. Vince, ride a push bike everywhere also helped me heaps. What's this one for, Vince? Oh yeah, cool, nice. So that's thank you, user UY8, and then all those other letters and numbers. Thank you. That's him giving some tips to Vince. Awesome. Okay, cheers, guys. Talk thoughts on joining Mill in 30s. Oh, joining the military in 30s? Go for it, man. If that's where you want to, like, if that's where you want to serve, and you feel fit, ready, capable, keen, ready to put up with and taking a bit of a um, I wouldn't say beasting, but a bit of suck eggs. You're willing to suck eggs again as you go through basic training, and you're in your 30s. You've got a little bit more life experience and stuff under your belt. and understanding that you're going to be with some younger 18-year-olds. I think there's somebody put a comment in one of my videos, I forget who it was, about how in the males the prefrontal cortex is underdeveloped until probably around mid to late 20s. um, so some of the decision making and some of the comments and things might rub somebody up in their 30s the wrong way. So this is my thoughts on here to at talk 5018. I think if you can put up with that and you're prepared for that, that there's going to be some young thrusters that may get on your nerves, as an older person, as a more mature person joining the army, then and you're happy with that, then go for it. Otherwise, yeah, like just sort of weigh some of that stuff up. Maybe watch a few videos, depending on if you're joining the NZ or the Australian one. Watch some of their Kapuka intake basic training videos or the NZ basic recruit training videos. Yeah, that'll give you a bit of an idea of some of the personalities, which you probably would be aware of anyway if you're in your 30s. 17 years old and fit, you'll probably be at the front of the pack. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm not a big guy. Yep, it's all good. No, mate, you'll be fine. Awesome. Yeah, good little conversation there. Thank you. Vince, do a 5 kilometer run every morning a month before you join, mate. Cheer. There you go. There's some more advice from AWOL Stew to Vince. And Vince seems like he's taking it all on. So appreciate those in the chat giving some tips and that to the young fella in here. Um, yeah, I think I've answered all the questions that came through. Pretty been, yeah. Graham, yeah, I have. Awesome. All right. Thank you, everybody. I don't know if there's anything else. If there is, feel free to whack it through. I'll either save it for a live or I'll come back to you later. Oh, sorry. If you could recall in NZ Army, what was your biggest pet peeves? My biggest pet peeves were Lincoln lazy pricks, um, people that you know couldn't wouldn't do the basics properly. Whether and it's real simple on basic, like just do what you're told. Be up at a certain time, be out on parade by the timing, um, have your uniform squared away, have your bed space squared away, have your bedroll squared away and looking like the way it was explained and demonstrated to you. You know, so yeah, people that just wouldn't do what they were told. And you know what? I don't think, as I look back, those were my pet peeves. But as I think of those individuals, I'm not going to name them here. But as I think of those individuals who are real clear in my head, I think, well, not I think, back then, uh, we were probably similar age. They might have been a year or two older than me. So maybe my expectation of them doing, being better at and doing what they should be doing, maybe, I don't know, maybe that was unfair or something. But I didn't think it was because we were all being tasked with the same thing. And during that time, the old good old saying, one and all in, if one person was late, we're all late. So we're all getting punished and hammered. If one person stuffed up, we've all stuffed up. So we're all getting, again, punished and hammered. And so I really pet peeved, hated those people that wouldn't do what we were asked to do. If the vast majority of everybody else could do it, then my thought was, why can't you clowns do it? So um, yeah, those are the pet peeves. It wasn't so much the talking. I probably talked just as much as anybody else in terms of being on basic training and wanting to try to do as well as I could during that time. So hopefully that helps. Yeah, there's plenty of people that just don't seem to get it, That don't do what they're supposed to do, or they drag the chain, or they're not aware. They're either not aware of the situation, not able to read the room properly, or they're just slack. They just need a little bit more help. And as I was trying to say, I think those guys were probably genuinely trying their best, but their best just seemed to be getting us in trouble a lot. So, and I didn't like it. Appreciate it, brother. See you next time. Yep. Likewise, Dan. Thank you, bro. Did you find it hard to follow an order you didn't agree with? I think once I was in the unit, um, and that wasn't really well, yeah, I suppose it was an order. I suppose they're all orders at the end of the day. Not on basic training, not on core training, not on selection, not on selection in NZ or Australia, not on cycle in NZ or Australia. Didn't find it hard. Like I had no resistance to that. Um, yeah, actually, even on deployment. No, I can't think of any times struggling with any orders or direct. There might have been. I think the best people to ask in terms of me not following orders would probably be like my patrol commanders, the people that were in charge, my leaders. Who did I have? Simon Namina at one stage when I first got to battalion. Um, on core training, I remember a guy by the name of Corporal Bell. There was Sid Kiriopa, who was one of the NCOs on my core training down in Second First Battalion as well. Then there were people that I was lucky enough to have, like Corporal Daniel Cook. Sergeant Douglas, DS Douglas, Clive Douglas from First Battalion at the time. In the unit, oh, maybe I won't drop his name because I'm not sure if he's still in. He might still be in the unit, so I won't mention his name. But yeah, probably the patrol commanders, probably be the people in the two ICs within my teams in terms of, hey, what was Joe like when it came to following orders? Was he, did he put up a fight, or did he just not follow orders, whatever? So me sitting here saying, oh, I can't recall. Maybe I'm blinking full of caca and maybe didn't follow a whole bunch of orders. um, where are we? Hit the like. Oh, yeah, that's Dan. Thanks, Dan. If there was one, could you talk about it? Understandable if you can't. Oh, yeah. So probably the only one that I can think of in terms of following an order to this question. Haha, nah, cool. No, there's one that would be uh, being told that I was going on the subject course for promotion in Australia. So subject one for corporal, I think it was. I think it might be the equivalent here of NZ of junior NCOs. I think they have junior and senior NCOs courses. I don't know. I never did them. It's not something that I wanted to do, but um, and same over in Australia. Like I just wanted to be a soldier. I just wanted to get into the unit, do my job. Like you've got me down as a scout, you've got me down as a patrol medic, you've got me down as a breacher with MOE, you've got me down. I've done the snipers course, you've got me down doing all these things within the team. An assaulter. Um, that's what I want to do. Like, use me. This was my thought process at that time. Use me until I can't do that job and that type of work anymore. That's what I had in my head. Right or wrong, that's just where my undeveloped prefrontal cortex was. I was just that guy. I just want to. This is what I want to do. Like, just let me do this. And so I was resistant when it came up to have to go and do the subject course. I didn't want to go. I was trying to find ways to get out of it. As I think back now, and even back then at the time, I was thinking, oh man, I should have faked a sickness or an injury or something. Um, but I didn't do that. And then when I went over on the course, I was like, yeah, I've had a gutful of this. Like, this is just not what I joined up for. It was a lot of drill stuff, and I didn't see it changing. It was a lot of polishing your brass and making sure that your uniform was neat and tidy. There's no threads, and I could do it, yep. But I was like, man, I've done all of this on basic training. I've done this on core training. We didn't need to do that on selection or cycle, but I was like, oh, I've jumped through all these hoops. This is me, arrogant me, prideful me thinking. I've jumped through all these hoops to get to where I am now. Just come back. We've just come back. We had not long come back from Iraq as well. And I'm like, man, let's take some of those learnings from Iraq. Let's do some more training and let's gear up and get ready for the next deployment. So we're even better. And getting put on that course, it was like, yeah. So in hindsight, long story short, without delving into that, I think I've touched on that in a video on my channel. Um, I definitely encourage anybody these days, and I've had the conversation with my sons that are in the army as well, no matter where they are, no matter where they end up, like any course you get put on or that you are extended an invitation on, I've just let them know. I was like, man, grab it with both hands and just give it heaps. Like, get after it, do the best you can. Doesn't matter if you don't top the course. You want to pass the course successfully, but get in there and just embrace it and learn as much as you can. Don't be like your dad was and be an idiot and be too stuck up, too big. Thought I was too big for my own boots. Say neck minute, um, and just embrace those courses, the learnings, the challenges with it. You'll meet some new people. So I lost sight of a whole bunch of stuff. Lost sight of the fact that I was still part of the Green Army. Lost sight of the fact that there was opportunities to, because there were all people from all different corps on that course, on that subject course. Sub one was the term that was used back then. Sub one and sub two. So I was on the sub one course. Um, yeah, and because I was blinking too fat headed, and I withdrew myself, I missed out on those opportunities. And the course I think was only 6 weeks or 8 weeks. Um, so, been through a 8 to 10 month, 12-month cycle, been through a 3 week selection, been through a 14-week core training, been through a 12-week basic training. Like, I could have done it. I just didn't want to do it. So that's what I'd say about the order one, not following an order. I should have done it. My leaders then tried to encourage me, and then eventually, flat out order me to go and do it. And I was like, no. So, yeah, undeveloped, man, undeveloped, bloody, not just prefrontal cortex, I think my bloody whole brain at that time. So, yeah, don't do that. Young fella, Vince, you get into the army and you get put on courses, embrace everything, young man. Get after it as well as you can. And yeah, and just enjoy it. I'm sure you will. Where are we? After leaving, what was the biggest culture shock for you in Civvy Street? Um, the lack of uh, the lack of camaraderie, like the lack of trust. So yeah, more so trust. The lack of trust that was the biggest standout for me out on Civvy Street. It seemed, no matter where I was working, it seemed and felt like people were in it for themselves. Um, what I mean by that, I got nothing wrong with being there, providing for your family, putting a roof over their head, paying the bills, bread on the table, kids in sports, school, education, etc. Nothing like guys in the military and in the unit still did that as well. But it was just in and around the lack of trust when it came to accountability and things, people not doing what they said they would do, or people finding every excuse as to why they didn't or couldn't do something instead of just taking ownership of that. Oh yeah, man, I stuffed up. Like, sorry, I didn't do that. I didn't prioritize it because I was doing this thing. I need to do better. I'll get onto that now. Like, they just didn't seem, there wasn't. I didn't experience any of that outside of the military and outside of the unit in particular. So that was the hardest thing, culture shock wise, and I hated it. So I I've had the privilege to work in a lot of different areas, from sort of mining, construction, oil and gas, training and assessing, high risk work stuff, not for profit spaces, education space, um, food manufacturing in general, in terms of equipment and that sort of stuff as well. Some of those places have had the opportunity to be in leadership, middle management positions. Had one executive position for a company, and yeah, it's just I wasn't happy in those places. Happy for a little bit, and then yeah, then didn't like it. Had to work and really enjoyed the space, working in the space where I was for the Runanga here, um, joint venture with Ngāti Toa and Te Aotearoa with regards to the partnership with Arapota Aotearoa Corrections, working with men that have been in and out of prison, worked with troubled youth in that as well. So really, I've been really blessed, I'd say, to work in as many different fields of work as I've had the opportunity to, especially given that my work history and experience didn't lend itself towards having any academic qualifications for probably all of those things. But thankfully, a bit of life experience and a bit of, I suppose, self belief and confidence in myself to be able to do what was being asked of me in those jobs. I felt comfortable and confident in my ability to be able to deliver on that. Um, Also acknowledging that I would need some time to learn some things or certain things, but also that I could bring um, some value to those companies and the organizations, and more importantly to the people at the end of the day, who were either the consumer or the client or the recipient of the service that the organization was providing. So yeah, that's probably the biggest sort of culture shock. Thanks for sharing your good human attitude. Thanks, drawn by Daniel. Yeah, appreciate you taking the time listening to me, like, and babble on. No, did you go straight to infantry when transferring over from NZ? Yeah, yeah, I did. Transferred over, so got RTU'd. I was back at battalion, um, and then went straight over to the Australian Defence Force, straight into infantry. I was prepared. So I was prepared to go through basic training again in Australia and the core training. I'd let the recruiters know that because it was a question that they had asked, and I had already prepared myself for that. So I knew, well, I felt like I knew. I was like, I'm not going back up north to the group in NZ, as it was referred to then, the NZSAS, or the group it was referred to back then, because of how I felt I had been treated. In the end, as I've mentioned in other videos, like what they did was fair. I just didn't have the humility to go back at the end of the day. Young 21-year-old me wasn't capable of taking that feedback, that fair assessment of feedback, and that opportunity that they were giving me to go back to battalion, come back in 6 months' time, and then crack on with the cycle, go through it again. So I just didn't have the bandwidth for that. So because I knew I wasn't going back there to do that, I was like, well, I don't want to just stay here in infantry. I'm going to go to Australia and I'm going to join the Australian SAS. In order to do that, I might have to go through basic training, core training, and then go through infantry, go to a battalion before I can then get on a selection. As it turned out, they let me go straight over. I did have to spend 2 weeks at a place called Singleton where they were doing their IETs. I think it's initial employment training, is what that might stand for. I thought it was infantry something training, but I think it's initial employment training. I don't know if they still call it IETs, but essentially it was infantry core training. And I don't know how long the infantry core training was going for, but I ended up being there for a couple of weeks. So did what I needed to do there, and then they gave me an option. They asked me where I wanted to go. I knew 4RAR Commando Unit was going to East Timor. I knew that they had a bit of a selection process to get into their unit. So I felt like some of the guys that were there or that were qualified as commandos in the unit, because not everybody was in 4RAR at the time. A lot of new recruits from Singleton went straight to 4RAR Commando. So when I do that, it's not because they didn't have a selection. It's because people like me and others from the IET core training went to 4RAR to bolster the numbers to go to East Timor. But even though I and we might have been part of 4RAR Commando Unit as it was, I wasn't a qualified commander because I hadn't done the selection. And same with the others that came in to bolster the numbers for East Timor. So that's why I was doing that, not because the commandos didn't have a selection course. The guys that I saw there, they had a commando beret. I didn't have a commando beret. I just had a standard infantry beret. The commandos had a different green colored beret for theirs. I don't know if the badge was different, but yeah, those are people that had been through a selection to be commanders. So I was fortunate to be mixed in with them and in an infantry battalion, and then head off when I did that, and then come back and then went on selection. So long-winded answer, but yeah, in straight into the Australian infantry. Didn't have to go through their Kapuka basic training or the full IET's core training, however long that was going to go for. Uh, what's this one? AWOL Stu. I had so much fun at Navy recruit training. That's awesome. Apart from C CPOPT, CPOPT, Cunningham. Is that Chief Petty Officer? Oh, I don't know. Cunningham, she was terrifying. She passed the SAS Carter course and she was so fit and funny too. I think you put this comment in one of my videos, bro. And I think you might have even put the name. I've never heard of a female having passed the Australian SASR selection course or Carter course, unless they've kept that a secret. Um, so yeah, as far as I'm aware, bro, there hasn't been any female that has passed the SASR selection course. That would be bigger than Ben Hur. That would be all over the news, I would imagine. And I've not, yeah, I've not, I've never heard of it. I'd never heard of it till I'd seen. I think it was you that put it in the comments of one of my other videos. So joined at 28. Oh, good for you. You joined at 28. I work in the space, not uniformed, so to speak, but civilian. I noticed a lot of uniform leave or go active reserve and join up as civvy. Common observation. Was this something you considered? No, it wasn't. It's joining reserve has never been something that I considered for me. Why? Because I think I've spoken about this in other videos. You know, when I promised my wife that when I left and I got out, that I would get out. Like at the time in Australia, there's like a specific, it was referred to as SASRAC, an SAS reserve, uh, not unit, but option, I guess, for want of a better term, whereby guys that have served in the unit, you know, like if they want to do part time, maybe it's family reasons, maybe it's whatever, maybe they just need a break or whatever. So rather than stepping away completely, there was an option to be reserve, active reserve, SASRAC or SAS reserve. That way you can still, you still got your ID, you still got the connection, you can still go off onto camp and come off camp, you can still help out on courses, etc. You keep, to a degree, you keep a certain level of your identity, whatever that is for the individual, in terms of from a military perspective. But no, I never thought of that, because I knew it would be too easy to just slip back in, and I never wanted my wife to be wondering, oh, is he in? Is he going back in? Or what's going on? So yeah, so I didn't. Um, yeah, hopefully that makes sense. Paul Gould, hey Paul, appreciate you, bro. Always good to hear from you. Um, I've been reading through the stuff that you sent, man. That guy Frank is an absolute legend, bro. So thank you for sharing that stuff. I will respond to your emails in the coming, if not this weekend, in the coming days ahead. Drawn by IETs was initial employment training. Oh yeah, there you go. Initial employment training. I think that might have been what I said. I think I think earlier though, I might have thought it was infantry something training, but yeah, initial employment training. Cool. I didn't know you did 4RAR. Some of my mates were with them back then. Oh, cool. Yep, I might know some of their names. I was at the recce platoon there. Reese Dewar was the platoon sergeant. Peter Ireland was the platoon commander. We were on the same selection actually. He passed. We were badged together. And I had Mick Parent. Mick Parent he was my patrol commander. Awesome guy. I think had half or some Irish heritage and Australian. But yeah, an awesome guy. I've seen, if it's the same Mick Parent, I've seen him comment on a couple of my videos from time to time. It's really nice to hear from him. I don't know where he is these days, but yeah, some whole bunch of good people there, man. Ray Hasties of the world, the Jason Kays or the Boogies, Brendan Maskies of the world. Like there's Bean. I can't even remember Bean's first name, but he looked like Rowan Atkinson, so his nickname was Bean. And he's just some good guys. Those Aussie guys are always good at making fun of themselves. So plenty of others there as well. Bram Connolly, I think he's got a book out. There's a lot of guys whose faces I can see. A whole bunch of others who I won't name because they're, or not a whole bunch of others, but a few others who I won't name because I think they're still in the unit now, still serving. Nick Caldwell was one of those guys as well. Chief Petty Officer, she was probably pulling my leg. Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. She must have been, man. Like pretty bold of her to make a claim like that. Like I said, that would be, I guarantee you, that would be all over the news. Not just because of the DEI stuff these days, like even back then, however long ago this is or was when she told you that she passed selection, that would have been all over the paper. That would have been all over the news. And yeah, there hasn't been any female pass. Not only the Australian one, not the UK one, not here in NZ either. There have been applicants here in NZ. I don't know how many. I think from what I'd heard, there was a female that got as far as I think day 3 or day 4, just before the Von Temsky portion, and then I believe she withdrew. Um, I don't know how many or if any females have actually even applied for the Australian one. To be honest, there hadn't been any females apply while I was there anyway, so maybe there has been a bunch that have applied since then. Dun, dun, dun. She did do 200 one-arm push-ups at a time without a break. Holy heck. Sounds like a Terminator. Good on her. I'm not even close to that. I wasn't even close to that at my peak in terms of fitness or strength. And if you promise your wife something, it's best to meet that. Yeah, I agree. No balls on science. Did you have to do the beep test when you joined the NZ Army, or Oz. Nah, beep test wasn't a part of the testing. It was always the 2.4. So beep test is something that I don't know how long that's been around for. It seems like it's been around for a long time, but based on people that I've spoken to and some of my mates that are still in the New Zealand Army here. Seems like the beep test has been something that's been around for a while, but beep test wasn't a thing when I joined. So yeah, it was something that we would do for a change up of PT, and it was frowned upon. Like if you got less than 10, it was, if you're in a combat role, it was frowned upon if you got less than 10. I think the best I ever got was like 11.4. Um, and then there were some other guys, and by that time, that's I was in the regiment. By that time, there were other guys blinking, sort of averaging around up in the 13s or high 12s, low 13s. Some freaks that would be like in the 14s or low 14s in terms of the beat test. Unreal. Like I was blinking, redlining flat out at 11.4. Like I was toast. um, Walker was one. Walker. Maybe if I saw a picture, I might recognize him. And I'm not going to mention others. And I think one is still in. All good. Yeah, no, fair enough too. 11.4. Yeah, yeah. That was the my peak, the best one that I'd ever gotten. But always strive to make sure I got over 10. Like I said, it was, yeah. You were frowned upon, man. If you were coming in less than 10, um, yeah, you had better start pounding the pavement and hit the road and get some remedial running and. In All Black. Well, then those other fellas there, there's those other guys. Holy heck, what would you call them? Ultra endurance marathon studs, whatever. NRL maybe. AWOL Stew 1998. We had a female officer complete the ship's divers 3-week course, and that was unheard of at the time. I tipped my hat to her. Crushed my ego though. Yeah, man, that would be, not that I know much about that, but I'm sure that's no easy course. Ship's divers 3 weeks course, and she passed that. Bloody hell, good on her. 200 one-arm push-ups, mate. That's nuts. There's somebody that should be an All Black, not me. All right, I think that's all of them. Man, appreciate the questions that came through there by Talk 5018 and others, drawn by Daniel. Acknowledging that, yeah, you've got some mates in four at that time, and yeah, appreciate you sharing that. Excuse me. And anybody else, thank you for the comment. Yeah, highly unlikely in terms of being in All Black. Yeah, sorry, Joe. Just last one. Oh yeah, fastest 2.4, 8:15, 8 minutes 15 prior to NZ selection. I think I've mentioned that on other videos. That was my fastest 2.4. I was tipping the over 100 kgs at that time. So I would have been about 105, 106, as I was in that stage of putting some weight. Oh, actually, I might have been 10, maybe 100 to 102, maybe, because yeah, by then during the taper, I was then putting weight on. So before I went on selection, I was about 108 by the time I went on the selection here in NZ. So put some fat on because I knew we weren't going to get fed much. And yeah, it came in handy. So my fastest 2.4 is 8:15. I've never run 8:15 since then. I've run a couple sub nines, not recently. I ran a couple of sub nines post that, and otherwise was usually low nines once I got into the unit. A couple sub nines and then low nines, so like 905, 907, something like that, 902. But yeah, that's my fastest 2.4. Drawn by Daniel. Have a good one, Joe. Yeah, you too. Likewise, mate. Yep. Digger, copper. Appreciate you. It's insane. I'm struggling to get under 11:15. Yeah, well, I think, not I think, you want something bad enough. And I wanted to give myself, I wanted to be in a position that I wasn't redlining for those physical activities, which I knew was coming up on day one of the selection in NZ anyway, like the 2.4, the bodyweight stuff, the swim test, the pack, the BET or CFT, BET, whatever it was called back then, the hares and hounds. Like I knew like those sort of back to back. There is a little bit of a break in between each activity, but you're getting all of the military, the army testing stuff in one day, and it's not even the whole day. It's sort of crammed into the first half of the day. So yeah, you're up early, and there's a bit of waiting around. But I wanted to make sure that I wasn't at death's door on every activity. So yeah, that's why I had to put in a lot of work, and I trained like for a solid nearly a year, almost a year, worth of just relentlessly for me pushing my body to train and prepare for selection, because I thought if I so I just felt like selection was going to be way worse, and so, to a degree it was, but there were definitely things that I loved about it. Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks for the chats. Definitely, likewise. Appreciate you all, eh? Have a beautiful and safe weekend, all of yous, wherever yous are. Yeah, sincerely again, I always appreciate your time, support, the questions that come through, and take care. Look after yourselves as always. Message is the same, mate. Any challenges, difficulties, hard times, whatever you're preparing for, whatever obstacle, whether it's 11:45 or whatever, keep chipping away at it, keep hammering, keep turning up, keep staying in the fight, one foot in front of the other, take one day at a time, be as consistent and as disciplined as you can, and good things will happen. I promise you that. So, as always, go always a little further. Remember, who dares wins and who cares wins. And until the next video, there's a big mana wave coming from me to you, filled with my aroha, respect, appreciation, and gratitude for you all. And for those that asked, aroha, like essentially in basic terms, means love. And then when I'm using the term mana and a big mana wave to you, I'm just wanting to send as many good vibes, um, positivity towards anybody out there that might need it. So there's a whole bunch of stuff in and around what mana means from a Te Ao Māori perspective, whakapapa, integrity, sort of the presence that somebody has, etc. There's a lot more deep and meaningful stuff into it. But when I'm throwing it out there and using it, with all due respect to the history and the deeper meanings behind it, I'm just using it to send good vibes to anybody that might be taking the time that has spent any time here. So much love to you all, eh? Right. Here we go. Oh, hang on. What's that? Double duffer. That's 2 meals at a time. Navy had great food for Navy had great food, Awesome. All right, end stream.